Hi, I'm Joe with StrongJamb Security Door Jamb Systems, and today we're going to go over how to put a deadbolt on a door that doesn't already have one. So we've got all the tools that you're going to need. We're not sponsored by these people or anything. We also do not sell these products, everything you see on the back here, but we do utilize them. You can get any brand that you want. As long as it does the same job, that's all that matters. Our product is the strike plate. So we've got a 1/4-inch steel plate that makes your whole process of mortising your jamb much easier. We've got an aluminum jig and a 3D printed jig, which are both available on our website. Everything you see here is available on the website. We've got a few more tools that you'll need, and as I go through, you'll be able to see what all that stuff does. We're going to get started. So the first step in this process is we're going to get the bore done for your deadbolt. So we've got to determine what your backset is currently, which is 2 3/8. And this jig makes that really easy because you can snap that back and forth depending on what you need. So we're going to get it opened up, and then we're going to get this guy on there. And we're going to make sure it's set to the 2 3/8. This makes it pretty easy. Clamp down. You can pretty much put this anywhere that you're comfortable with your deadbolt going on. I could put it at the top corner if I wanted to. Obviously, we don't want to do that. So get it on there, get it set, and then we're going to start drilling. First step, you're going to get your 2 1/8-inch hole saw, and you're going to go through the door. After you get through the side, you got your center mark. Okay, now we're going to switch over to our 1-inch hole saw. We're going to go through for the back set. After drilling, you're just going to go ahead and unscrew your jig, and then you have exactly what you need to put a deadbolt on. So we went ahead and put on, after drilling properly, exactly like we showed earlier in the video, went ahead and put on the actual deadbolt. So just follow the instructions for actually getting your deadbolt on. All deadbolts are a little different, same basic idea, but they're going to be a little different, so make sure you follow those instructions as closely as possible. Now we're going to line up for the jamb, so we know where to put the plate in relation to the deadbolt. So we're going to close the door. We're not going to throw it all the way. We're going to throw it about halfway. And we're going to get down real close to it. We're going to mark the bottom and the top. And when you open it up, it should look something like that. If you have a square, you can set this against your jamb, line it up with your marks, and follow it all the way back. Or, if you've got a handy dandy jig, just go like that. Now we're going to find the center of between the stop and the edge of the jamb. So you're going to stick your tape on there, and usually you have about 2 1/8. So what we're going to want is about 1 1/16. Now we can go back to the same one we used to drill through the door earlier, the 1-inch hole saw, and get our starting point. Now we're going to remove the weather stripping. We are going to be attaching our jig to our jamb. And what we wanted to do is be careful that these lines are the same distance from the top and the bottom of the jig. So I've got about an inch from here and about an inch from there. Just center it in any best way that you can think. we're gonna pre-drill this so we don't split our jamb. You can utilize any screw with a smaller head to attach it to your jamb. You don't have to cinch them down real hard. We're just going to get it on there so that jig doesn't want to move around. The next part of the process is we have to get our router depth correct. So one way to do it is to take your jig, put it on there, and then you should be about flush to the back of your plate, as you can see there. Or, alternatively, possibly a bit more of a foolproof way is to set that on your jig, and if you're just touching your wood jamb, then your depth is good. Now it is time to route. Make sure you have your glasses on. When you're routing, you want to get it all the way in so there's no obstructions. So don't turn it on like this and then go at it. You're going to let it stop all the way. Get your router on there. Start. Allow your router to completely stop before trying to remove it from your jig. It's stopped, and we'll remove it. Now we're going to go through, and before we take our jig off, we're going to make sure that we got all of the material that needed to be removed. If you have a chisel, this is a good time for that, or you can start your router back up and do it that way. Now we're going to remove this jig. Time for the plate. So we're gonna get this guy in there. Sometimes it takes a tap, sometimes it doesn't. We route it a little bit too far so that we have room to move back and forth, like so. But what we're gonna wanna do is come all the way to the edge of the jamb. Now we're going to pre-drill. We're gonna pre-drill to the back of the hole and at a slight angle. You start out a little straighter. Come on back. Now we're going to take these screws, which are color match, they look great, and we're going to stick them right through these rear holes. After drilling and routing, you may still have a little bit of material that needs to go, so we're going to go ahead and take our chisel and get it out of there. After you get all that done, you may have had a little bit, depending on how close your casing is, you may have had a little bit of overdue on your, and so you just take and fill it, and if you got to paint it, you got to paint it, or just try not to do that. It's not always that easy, but if you have some excess, just a wet rag will get it right off and you won't have to worry about it at all. You can also remove this casing so that doesn't happen at all, but it's not really necessary because your plate covers up the vast majority of it anyway. Now we are going to put on the decorative plate. So I usually put it to about center of the range. There's a little roll right there that if you line it up, usually works out great. You can also put long screws in this if you want, but it's not necessary. So we're just going to put some nice decorative brass screws. Spackle if you need it. You won't always. You got your screws all the way to the back, which is what transfers, if there is a kick, somebody's going to hit your house, that is what transfers all that energy to the back, to the meat of the stud. You're going to get your weather stripping back in. If you already have a piece of weather stripping, great. If it doesn't need replaced, that's also something you can do. Pretty much any hardware store or Lowe's, Home Depot will have replacements, and you can just cut them with a pair of scissors that pretty much anybody has. After you have everything put together, you got your decorative plate on, your weather stripping on, all that good stuff. The only thing to do is check and see if it works. Throws like a dream, got no issues. One of the things to point out is if it does not throw your first time, normally it will, this moves back and forth. You can see on this plate. So if I have it and it's too tight, I can move it back and forth, like so. We did this video today to be mostly instructional, and that's part of the reason why we did it in a lived-in house. This is a situation that any of you probably will deal with. Magnets, things on it, and you didn't even have to take that off to get it done. So it is a complete process. It's a strike adjustment system and a security application that doesn't make your door rub. It doesn't look much different, and by the end of the day, you can hardly tell it's even there. So you have your deadbolt application, which is the most secure, and if I had to say get one or the other, definitely get the deadbolt application, but they also work fine for a latch. So you take that, instead of a deadbolt plate, you get a latch plate and stick it right on there and you're set.